The printer spits a wristband. Donor. As the transport chair rolls in. 5 seconds. I grip the consent clipboard. I'm a father about to give my kidney. Then my grandson bursts through the OR doors. Wait, there's something you need to know. And every hand freezes. They call it a blessing. The board says 2 p.m. My gut says, wait. Plastic chairs squeak. A monitor chirps somewhere behind the triage desk. Sierra holds a printed policy like a flag and plants herself at my elbow. Sign the pre-op acknowledgement now, she says, voice pitched for the room. It's your duty, Tom. I'll sign what I understand, I say, not what's waived. Reverend Johnson, collar bright under the fluorescent hum, nods toward the paper. A father's sacrifice is holy. Clarity's holy too, I answer. My notebook opens with a snap. Grid paper, one clean line for time, another for names. Alvarez family, wristband at the desk, the receptionist calls. The thermal printer whirs. A plastic band snaps in the tray. Sierra turns to the room. See? They're waiting on him. She keeps her smile aimed where it will land on strangers. I step to the desk. Thank you, I tell the receptionist. I'll take the band after I read what I'm asked to sign. Sierra's mouth tightens. You're embarrassing Jake. I'm protecting him. That's my job. The Reverend clears his throat. Perhaps speed is mercy. Speed is where mistakes live. I jot the time, the names, and the phrase duty pressed by clergy in the margin. The pen steadies my hand better than prayer does. Sir, the triage nurse slides a clipboard forward. You can review this acknowledgement here. OR is scheduled for 2 p.m. Antibiotics usually at 1:30 p.m. Good, I say. Then we have time to be accurate. Sierra leans closer, sugar sharp. Sign, Tom. I will, after I read it. She exhales through her teeth. We don't have time for... We have exactly the time the board says we have. I lift my phone, step 2 paces to my left until the glare dies, and center the surgery board in the frame. 2 p.m. sits in clean numerals. 1 click. I email the image to myself before my thumb can second-guess it. Server copy. Subject line. OR board 2 o'clock. Lobby. The Reverend shifts. Son, don't harden your heart. I'm hardening the record, I say quiet. I write Reverend present and the minute mark. The page already looks like a day's work order. Job start, parts needed, hazard circled. Tom. Sierra holds up the policy printout like a stop sign. You promised at church, remember? If my boy needs my kidney, he'll have it. I remember the whole sentence, I say, and the part about risks. She glances at the waiting room, then back to me. If he dies, it's because his father got cold feet. That's cruel, the nurse says under her breath. Sierra lets the room hear it anyway. I'm just naming the truth. I cap the pen, uncap it. The habit is older than every smart device here. No one dies because I read. She leans in. Then read faster. The nurse points to a chair. You can sit while you look it over, Mr. Alvarez. We'll call if anything changes. Thank you. I note her name and underline 1:30 twice. The board's numbers sit calm and square. I match their posture. Sierra edges closer to the Reverend. Can you pray with him? He listens to you. He lays a hand on my shoulder. Lord, give Tom courage. Courage isn't the problem, I say. Fog is. He nods once, perhaps hearing me. Sierra's eyes flash. She wants the show, not the sense. Heart thumps. I breathe through it. Fear doesn't get the pen. Facts do. I scan the acknowledgement line by line. Plenty of consent. Light on specifics. I circle a clause about latest versions superseding prior forms and write the exact phrasing into the notebook. If this day is a job, I'm the only one bringing a level. Sierra stands tall so the room can see her patience. Reverend, could you hold this while I text the coordinator? He takes the policy. I move my phone beside my notebook and tap the email I just sent. There it is, the board, 2 p.m. centered. 1 copy here, 1 in the server's belly where my nerves can't reach. Mr. Alvarez, the nurse says gently, any questions I can answer? Not yet, I point at the board, but I'll keep to the time. Sierra's phone lights. For a second, she forgets to tilt it away. Coordinator. Slot may be advanced if both prepped. Her thumb flicks. The screen disappears into her pocket. All set, she announces to no one in particular. I write that phrase too. Slot may be advanced. Exact words, exact minute. The grid lines take it in without judgment. The board keeps shining. 2 p.m. Steady as a promise. Sign, Tom, Sierra says again. Softer now. The edge wrapped in honey. After I understand it, I say, and underline understand like a man wiring a panel, checking the load before he flips the breaker. The Reverend exhales. The printer whirs again. The room hums like a transformer under steady draw. I close the notebook halfway, thumb marking the place, and watch Sierra's pocket as if it were another clock. The family suite door clicks each time it swallows another relative. The authorized visitor's only placard sits eye level. My name isn't on the list. 5 minutes with my son, I say to security. Family suite only, he answers, polite as a parking ticket. Sierra glides between us, pen poised like a baton. He'll see you after pre-meds. Don't upset him, Tom. I'll be quick, I say. Quick is still disruptive, she says, sweet and loud. Charge nurse Ortega approaches with a clipboard, glancing at the hallway clock. Antibiotics at 1:30 p.m., she says. We're aligning the bay prep with that. So we've got a clock, I say. Good to know. Sierra smiles at Ortega. We're grateful for the staff. Some of us are trying to keep things smooth. I set my notebook on the anteroom ledge and box the minute. Then I underline 1:30 twice. The act pulls my shoulders down from my ears. Heart pulse. Being treated like a problem stings. Writing steadies me. Badge, please, security says. I tap mine to the reader. The light blinks red. Again, red. Not on today's list, he says. I hold my breath instead of my tongue. Who set the list? Sierra's smile doesn't reach her eyes. Tom, the more you push, the more you delay Jake's peace. Policy will tell us what's disruptive, I say. Policy says the care team moves forward, she counters, turning toward the door. Family tension. Tom, 5 minutes isn't disruption. Sierra, it is when you make scenes. Tom, then let the clock and policy speak. Sierra, they already are. The door whispers shut behind her. I lift my phone, frame the badge reader until the red blink is clean, and take one photo. I email it to myself before I breathe out. Subject, suite access, red light, 11 a.m. The server gets the copy that won't shake. Ortega watches my hands, not judging, just present. You can wait along this wall, she says low. It won't block anyone. Thank you, I say. Sierra reappears, balancing empathy for the room and heat for me. He needs calm, Tom. After antibiotics. I heard, I say. 1:30. She shifts, presenting her best angle to the corridor. Then let's all support the schedule. Supporting the schedule includes accuracy, I say. She tilts her head teacherly. You see how you sound? Like a man who wired panels for 40 years and never lost a house, I think. Out loud. Careful. The security officer clears his throat. Folks, keep the hall clear. I'm on the wall, I tell him, stepping where Ortega pointed. My notebook sits open, a grid of time and words. I write, badge denied twice, list owner unspecified. Ortega confirms 1:30 antibiotics. Sierra glances at my page. You're making a record? She laughs softly. For what? To show Facebook? For Jake, I say. And for me, when nerves rewrite the day. She lowers her voice. Stop this. I'm standing still and writing. The corridor settles into hospital sounds. Gloved hands snapping, rollaway bins, a monitor chirp buried under everything like a heartbeat. The door opens again. Sierra angles herself so I can see her profile but not her phone. She thumbs a message, then pivots to hide the screen. Ortega passes, pauses. Anything you need clarified? She asks. Just the rule that keeps me at this wall, I say. Visitor list is set by primary. Changes can be made, she says carefully, but not by me. Primary. Sierra wears the word like a badge. I nod. Appreciate the straight answer. She moves on. I sketch a little square of the corridor in my notebook. Reader here, door there, my spot on the wall. Like I used to sketch breaker boxes before the first cut. Security double-checks a name on his tablet. Sierra edges back into view, phone in her palm, screen bright for a breath. Coordinator. OR can pull forward if anesthesia clears. The words flash and vanish as she tilts her wrist, a magician's practice move. She catches me watching and smiles. All set, she says to no one in particular. I draw a small box around 1:30 and write, in block letters, pull forward if anesthesia clears. Exact phrase, exact minute. The red light on the reader blinks once more, and the corridor feels half an inch narrower. The staging hallway smells like antiseptic and coffee lids. Curtains hang from rails in neat squares where lives get counted and weighed. I spot Jake's bay number on a paper placard clipped to a pole, 2 bays down. Let me say goodbye, I tell the guard posted by the curtain. Sierra's voice floats from inside, bright enough for the hall. If he hesitates, get it done. We have a slot. The guard shifts a forearm across the opening. Family suite only, sir. I am family. List says primary only, he replies, eyes firm but not unkind. Sierra steps into the gap, smile cranked to 11 for the corridor. Support the plan, Tom. Safety is the plan, I say. Then stop raising his heart rate. Clocks don't cancel questions. She tilts her head. Questions later. The coordinator breezes up with a tablet. We're on a clock. She gives Sierra a nod, the kind that moves things. I set my notebook against the wall and open to the second page. New tab. Pre-op. On a yellow sticky I tear with my thumb. I write, curtain block. Get it done. Heard. Coordinator confirms clock. Nurse Ortega appears, hands tucked to keep them clean. She glances at the guard, at me, then down at the waxed floor. You can stand here, she murmurs, tearing a thin strip of tape and laying it a good yard from the curtain. Within policy. Appreciate that. Sierra watches the tape go down like it offends her. You see? Staff is bending over backwards and you're still. I'm standing where I was told, I say, stepping onto the tape. The floor squeaks under my shoe, a small, decent sound. From the crack where the curtain doesn't quite meet the wall, I catch a sliver of my boy's arm. Not a look, not a word, just the shape of him, pale under a fleck of adhesive. I hold my breath, then let it go. Overhead. Antibiotics to Bay 6, transport standby. The scanner at the nurse's station beeps, urgent and cheerful at the same time. See? Sierra sweeps a hand at the ceiling speaker. Time is mercy. Precision is, too. She leans toward the coordinator. If anesthesia clears early, we can pull forward, right? The coordinator keeps it brisk. We'll do what we can. I lift my phone, shift until glare slides off the glass case holding the hallway clock. I line it with the bay placard in my peripheral. Numbers stacked just so. One click. The clock's minute hand sits like a nailhead. The placard reads the bay I'm not allowed to enter. I send the photo to myself and watch the sending bar crawl. Subject, bay number plus hall clock, hallway capture, server copy made. I can breathe again. Family tension, Sierra. Tom, this is where a father supports. Tom, a father protects. Sierra, from what? Paperwork? Tom, from haste dressed up as virtue. The guard shifts. Sir, stay on the tape. I am. Good, Ortega says softly. That keeps us all right. I write the exact words, get it done, in the notebook, add the time, draw a square around both like I used to box a live wire on a schematic. The act cools the heat under my ribs. Heart pulse. The heat in my chest cools when ink hits the page. Sierra angles herself so passers-by can hear her composure. Coordinator, he's amplifying stress. Jake doesn't need this. The coordinator doesn't bite. Antibiotics in 25. She taps the tablet, already in the next minute. I look at the slit of curtain again. My boy is the same shape he was at 10, asleep after a Little League game, arm flung overhead. He needs medicine, not theater. Tom, Sierra says softer, this is what love looks like. Signing and walking where you're pointed. I walked where the nurse pointed, I say, and logged 25 beside the word antibiotics. I don't get a goodbye. I get tape under my shoe, 1 yard of sanctioned ground, and a clock I can point to later when everyone speaks in past tense. The hall breathes. A gurney rolls by. A volunteer pushes a mop. Someone laughs too loud at an inside joke, and the sound dies as quickly as it blooms. I cap the pen. The sticky tab peels a hair at the corner, then settles. Sierra tucks the curtain back in, closing that sliver of view. Let us work, the coordinator says, not unkind. Work safe, I answer. My phone buzzes in my pocket. I glance down and the words crawl across the screen. Black on white, calm as a receipt. Voicemail transcription. Dr. Harris, call me. Your test numbers don't add the way I expected. I underline the phrase in the notebook and draw an arrow to it from the bay number. 2 points now, a line starting to form. The cross corridor looks like a throat between 2 lungs. Quiet air, thin traffic, a square of interior glass that faces the service window ledge. I lift my chin to spot sightlines the way I used to walk a job before the first cut. Which way to the chapel? I ask. Nurse Ortega tilts her head toward the window corner. That quiet spot won't block anyone. Appreciate it. Sierra slides past with a clipboard and a pen already uncapped. Tom, just sign. We're ready. I sign what I can verify. Her smile goes tight. You're stalling while Jake suffers. Decisive is not the same as blind. She plants the clipboard against the wall. It's a simple acknowledgement. That's what people say when it isn't. A phone buzzes, a soft insecty trill. In the window glass, I catch the reflection of Sierra's screen, just long enough to read a single bubble. Ready? Her thumb flicks. The glow dies. She angles the phone away like a card shark. I take 1 step into the corner Ortega pointed to. It feels like the only square foot in this hospital that belongs to air. Sir, a volunteer says from a passing cart. Need anything? Just room to think. Sierra swings back. No more delays. He needs your signature. He needs us accurate. I open my notebook. The grid waits. I draw the hallway as if it were a panel. Window, ledge, angle, arrows stacked, doorway and camera dome circled. My corner marked with a small X. Ortega's badge taps softly as she leans in. You're fine there, she says under her breath. Out of the way. Thank you. Heart pulse. Seeing the route cools my pulse. Work the plan, not the panic. Sierra lowers her voice to honey. You think drawing boxes helps your son? I think refusing fog helps him more. God, Tom. She glances toward the nurse's station, then back. This is not one of your job sites. That's why I'm measuring twice. She exhales hard enough to fog the glass for a blink. Sign. When the paper and the portal match. She studies me for a beat, then pivots and goes. The corridor swallows her footfalls. I mark a small arrow labeled Chapel on the page, then sketch the service window ledge on the opposite wall. A hand's breadth below the glass, right where a person might lay something down while they message. I print. Sightline holds in the margin. The act warms my hands the way a good plan does. The wall clock down the way is easing toward 1 p.m. I don't take a picture. I just let the minute hand remind me which way this day leans. Footsteps approach, softer than Sierra's. A man in a ball cap stops near the service hallway window and pretends to read a flyer about blood drives. He's not reading. He's waiting. Sierra reappears and drifts close enough to give him a look without earning it. I keep my eyes in the notebook and angle my ear. Stop dawdling, she says to me, sugar bright. Jake needs you decisive. I am decisive, I say. I'm choosing careful. Careful is code for afraid. Afraid is signing what I don't understand. She shakes her head and peels away. The ball cap man stays. Ortega comes by again, checks a chart and, without looking at me, slows her step just enough to make the corridor feel safe. I add lines to the sketch. The window ledge, the angle to the glass, the camera dome's field of view. If I needed a place for a tool, I'd put it there. I box the word, wait. A security rover squeaks past, radio hissing. Keep the cross corridor clear, the driver says. Ortega, he's fine there. The rover moves on. I breathe. Sierra's voice fades around the corner. The pen keeps scratching. Tom, she calls from down the hall. We're ready. So am I say, not loud, not small. The notebook page holds my shape better than the air does. From the corner of my eye, the ball-cap man lifts his face toward the ceiling and studies the little black camera dome like it might blink back. He shifts his weight, pulls his sleeve, and checks his watch. Not nervous, synchronized. I underline, wait, and close the notebook enough to keep the page a secret. The corridor feels like a wire pulled tight, silent until someone touches it. The family suite door sighs shut like it's just eaten. I hold my badge to the reader. The light blinks red. Not on today's list, security says, tone neutral, eyes already on the next task. 5 minutes with my son, I say. I'll stand in the doorway. Sierra sets her palm gently on the door, claiming it. After antibiotics, she says, voice sugared for the corridor. Don't upset him, Tom. I'll be quiet. Quiet can still be disruptive. Policy decides what's disruptive, not you. She smiles, patient for the audience, impatient for me. Then trust the people trained for this. I tap the badge again. Red. My jaw tightens. My notebook opens. I box the minute, then write, badge denied X2. List owner, primary. Heart pulse. Locked out stings. Logging unlocks me. The hallway draws a breath. Wheels murmur past. Inside the suite, someone laughs too loud. The kind of laugh people use when the room is tense. Security shifts his stance. Sir, you'll need to keep the doorway clear. I'm on the wall, I say, stepping back half a shoe's length. Nurse Ortega appears like a pause button. She eases a folding chair to the hallway edge. You can wait here, she says low. Won't block anyone. Thank you, I tell her. She gives the smallest nod and moves on, lanyard whispering. Sierra tilts her head toward the corridor traffic. See, everyone's working with you. Meet us halfway. I'm not the hallway, I say. I'm the father. Family tension. Sierra. Then act like it. Tom. This is acting like it. Sierra. No, this is control. Tom. This is care. Behind the door, a voice cuts through the padding of gowns and blankets. Leave the envelope by the window. The words land like a dropped washer in an empty sink. Sierra's eyes flick to mine. Too quick a smile. What envelope? I ask. She turns to security as if I'm invisible. Thank you for keeping the hall calm. I sit, phone already in my palm. Audio note, I whisper to the screen. Badge denied twice at family suite. Heard, leave the envelope by the window. I save. The screen flashes the time, 12:49 p.m., and the file name. I hit share and email it to myself with the subject, suite denial plus envelope phrase. Server copy made. The shaky copy in my hand becomes a fixed line in a log somewhere I can't touch. Sierra watches the small movements of my thumb. Recording, Tom? For what? For when nerves rewrite the day. Or for when you need to feel in charge. I feel responsible. She exhales through her nose. Same thing to you. The door opens a sliver. Gloved hands, motion, then shut again. A monitor somewhere beeps twice, cheerful as it is indifferent. Transport will need this area clear, security says. I'm in the chair you provided, I say. I'll be quieter than the furniture. Good, he says, not unkind. I print envelope in the notebook margin and circle it twice. The word looks wrong and right at once. Too ordinary for what it might hold, too heavy for how softly they said it. A woman in scrubs leans to the reader from inside. It lights green for her, and the door swallows her the way it refused me. The lock clicks like a polite throat clear. Sierra smooths her hair with her fingers and turns her best profile to the corridor. She's learned hospital lighting the way an actor learns marks. Remember church, Tom? You said you'd do anything. I said I'd do it after they clear the risks. You always add something. I add the part that keeps him alive. Her phone pulses in her palm. She tries to shield it, but I see the tiny green dot of a sent message and the angle of her mouth. What did you just send? I ask. Family update, she says, pretending to tuck hair behind her ear. People are praying. Inside the suite, a cabinet thumps shut. Outside, the corridor air thins by an inch. A voice calls from down the hall. Antibiotics in 35. I underline 130 from earlier and draw a line to the word envelope, like I'd mark a tie-in on a circuit. If there's a pass, it will happen where hands can pretend to be tidying. Sierra's phone lights again, this time just long enough for me to see her thumb hovering over send. She murmurs, too soft for security, loud enough for me. We're green. I write it, exact phrase, exact minute, and close the audio app. The badge reader blinks red as if to underscore it. The chapel is small enough to hear your own breath. Cushions give a tired sigh when I sit. I set the notebook on the pew like a hymn book and open my phone. Cloud Search Original. 2 Sundays ago, Sierra stood at the pulpit with a smile that worked every corner of the room. My face floated on the projection screen. If my boy needs my kidney, he'll have it, my voice said. She let the clip end there. The congregation murmured. Phones came out. The Reverend asked everyone to pray for courage. Let me finish, I'd said from the third row. We all heard you, Sierra had answered, eyes shining. Hope doesn't wait. They need truth, I said, and the microphone wasn't mine. Back in the chapel, I pull the real file. The thumbnail blooms into my full sentence. If my boy needs my kidney, he'll have it, after they clear the risks. There it is, the part that got cut. The door opens. 2 staffers ghost past the entrance. Scrubs whisper. One says, make sure it's the latest revision. The words trail like a draft. I breathe. Shame goes quiet when facts breathe louder. Heart pulse. Shame fades when facts breathe. I tap export. The cloud card flashes a small line. Created 2 Sundays ago, before slipping away. I address the email to Dr. Harris. Subject line, uncut church clip. Full statement attached. My thumbs don't shake, not much. Mr. Alvarez, a volunteer peeks in, hand on the frame. Do you need the chapel? I just need this bench for a minute. She nods, leaves me the small silence I asked for. I type one line to Harris. This is the complete quote as said, with cloud metadata intact. I add no argument. I've learned that evidence doesn't need my voice on top of it. The phone pings that familiar whoosh. Sent. The part of me that rewires rooms for safety feels that warm click in the chest when a panel is grounded. I flip the notebook open to a fresh corner and start a video index. Uncut church clip. Harris. Cloud original preserved. Purpose. Refute smear. Restore intent. Family tension. Flashback. Sierra. If he dies, it's because his father got cold feet. Tom. If he lives, it's because we cleared the risks. Sierra. You always add conditions. Tom. I add safety. The chapel light hums. A janitor's cart murmurs by the door, wheels thrumming like distant bees. I keep writing. I think of Jake, of the way he used to hold a flashlight above my shoulder, jaw set, trying not to wobble. You hold the light, kid, I'd said. I'll do the cutting. I tap my voicemail icon, Dr. Harris's voice from earlier. Call me. Your test numbers don't add the way I expected. He's cautious. He's never been flashy. He'll open my email. I don't need to see his reply yet. I need to plant today's horizon. Authorization expires at 11:59 p.m. I say out loud to the empty pews, the way you say a measurement before you mark a board. I write the phrase verbatim in the notebook, then box it. 11:59 p.m. Spoken, not shown. The side door whispers. Someone coughs down the hall. I draw a small arrow from 11:59 p.m. to Harris and underline both. The grid looks more and more like an electrician's log. Start times, hazards, tie-ins. My phone buzzes. Mail, 1 cent. No fireworks. Good. I close the cloud window and lay the phone on the notebook like a paperweight. The room smells faintly of candle wax that hasn't been lit in years. The Reverend's voice from memory tries to fill the chapel. A father's sacrifice is holy. Clarity is holy too. I don't say it this time. I just keep the page open. I look up at the cross, not for blessing, but for level. Straight is straight, whether you're hanging a panel or a truth. I stand, tuck the notebook into my shirt pocket, and breathe like a man who can walk a corridor without wobbling. I meet them at the visitor alcove, where the corridor coughs into a small square of light and chair legs. Sierra has a stack of papers. The coordinator has a tablet. Both have the posture of moving water. Mr. Alvarez, the coordinator says brisk. Consent needs your signature. Which version? I ask. She blinks. The latest. Sierra flips to the top page and presents it like communion. Here. I keep my hands still. I'll read the header. The paper tilts toward me. In the upper corner, neat as an engraving, Reverend C. My patient portal shows Reverend B, I say. Which governs, B or C? The latest, the coordinator repeats, tone clipped to time. Sign here, sir. Show me, I say, that the latest is complete and properly issued. Sierra's smile has edges. He's stalling. Jake needs this now. Nurse Ortega appears and fades to the side, listening with her hands still. She doesn't rescue anyone. She keeps the room honest by standing in it. Antibiotics at 1:30 p.m., the coordinator says, glancing at the tablet. We're on pace. Then we have time to be accurate, I say, and set my notebook against the wall ledge. I write, Reverend C, paper. Underline it once, then write, Reverend B portal, underline once, and draw a simple arrow between them. The act quiets the fizz in my chest. Heart pulse. Paper doesn't panic. People do. Family tension. Sierra. He promised at church. Now he's inventing hoops. Tom. I'm moving with the right paper. Sierra. This is the right paper. Tom. Then document that answer and show me it's signed. The coordinator softens her tone but not the schedule. Sir, the latest revision supersedes clause is standard. Standard isn't specific, I say. What changed between B and C? That's internal. Then I can't sign blind. Sierra swings to the corridor so the passersby can catch her patience. He's making this harder. I don't look at her. I look at the header again, Reverend C, and say, I'll sign when the portal matches or you explain the delta. Until then, no. The coordinator exhales. Not a sigh, more like a pressure release. Noted. She taps the tablet. We'll keep prep moving. I keep my hands at my sides, fingers itching to hold a tool, any tool. Instead, I open the email app, type a note to myself. Consent header shows Reverend C, portal B, asked which governs. Reply latest and hit send. It's not a second proof queue, it's my chain. The server eats the line and makes it heavier than my nerves. Sierra angles the page closer again. Sign. After I understand what I'm signing, she leans in, voice like velvet with wire under it. If he dies, Tom. That line isn't a policy. Ortega. Answer his question, she says to the coordinator, not unkind. The coordinator's eyes flick to Ortega, then to Sierra, then to me. Reverend C consolidates forms. That's all I can say. Then show me the consolidation note. Sir. Or mark that you refuse to disclose it. Either is fine for the record. Record? Sierra scoffs. The one we're all in, I say, and I underline Reverend C in the notebook a second time. Not because the letter changed, but because I did. The coordinator toggles something on her tablet. The universal sign for we're moving on. We're keeping the slot. Please be available when called. I'm right here, I say. A nurse's voice floats from the hall. Med pass, Bay 6, confirm. Sierra steps half a pace closer to the coordinator, all profile and poise. The coordinator bends her head just enough that I see lips move, not words. I keep my eyes on my page, leave my ears open. Sierra's voice drops to a whisper made for exactly one listener. The coordinator answers at the same volume, but a phrase slips free like steam from a kettle. "If anesthesia clears," she murmurs, "we can pull forward." I don't chase the words. I write them down, exact and square, then add the minute mark beside them. No picture, no new proof, just the language. Clean. Sierra turns and faces me as if she's never side-spoken in her life. "Ready to support, Tom?" "I am," I say, "with the right paper." The coordinator nods once, neutral as a level. "We'll be in touch." I close the notebook and touch the edge of the page with my thumb, the way I used to check a cut for burrs. The header, Reverend C, burns in my mind like a pilot light. If the portal still says B, we're looking at two frames that don't square. I've never hung a panel that way, and I'm not hanging my son's life like that either. The cross-corridor window throws back a thin reflection. Me, a square of light. The quiet ledge where I can work without touching anything that matters. I take the little charger from my pocket, coil the cable neat, and set it on the ledge like I've set 100 tools onto joists. Square, discreet, steady. I don't arm anything yet, just angle. I lean close enough to see the glass's shallow warble and line the cube with the service window so the ledge will sit dead center later. If hands pass something small, they'll do it there. A PA crackles. "Pre-op in under 30, confirm meds." Sierra's shoes click somewhere behind me, metronome steady. I don't turn. Calm as a tool. Heart pulse. Holding still as work. Calm as a tool in my hand. "Move along, Tom," she says, voice dipped in care. "You're clogging the artery." Presence isn't interference. Visitors aren't supposed to loiter at the windows. Policy says don't block care. I glance down at my shoes planted inside the line Ortega gave me earlier. I'm not blocking. She steps closer to crowd the corner. "You're making people anxious." "People can breathe," I say. "Paper can't." "That's why I read." Her smile hardens. "You don't get to police this floor. I get to stand where policy allows." She exhales and drifts 2 steps back, as if my stillness offended gravity. I nudge the charger a hair's breadth left. The cable lies like a small river over stone. Through the glass, the service hallway runs clean to the interior window. 10 paces, no clutter. If someone wanted to play something without a camera seeing the handoff, this is where they'd risk it. A pretend tidy, a pause by the flyer, the bag on the sill. A security rover rolls slow, radio hissing. The guard doesn't scowl, he's doing his loop. "Keep window areas clear, transport moving through," he says, the words more weather report than command. "I'm inside the tape," I answer, showing him the rubber toe just within the mark. He checks my feet, nods. "Stay inside it." "Will do." Sierra catches the exchange and tries to turn it. "You heard him. Clear the window." "He said stay inside the tape," I say. "So I will." She lifts her chin, an actress hitting a light. "You're making this hospital a courtroom." "No," I say, and the word lands soft. "I'm keeping the power on." Family tension. Sierra, "You love your notebook more than your son." Tom, "My notebook keeps him safe." Sierra, "It keeps you in control." Tom, "It keeps the day honest." She scoffs and takes out her phone, angling her body so the screen turns away. The reflection in the glass gives me only shapes. Her thumb, the lift of her wrist, the pause that says waiting for a reply. I don't move. This is the work. Stand where the rule says I can. Let the river of hospital pass by, and know where the current narrows. Ortega appears at my shoulder like a hush. "You're fine there," she says, not quite a whisper. "I know," I say. "Thanks." The wall clock beyond the glass ticks toward 1:35. Not captured, only felt. Somewhere a cart rattles. A volunteer laughs too brightly, then dims. I open the notebook against my palm and write, small. "Angle set arrow window ledge." Next line. "Rover said keep windows clear, staying inside tape." I close the book on the pencil line and let the corner weigh the page flat. Sierra's footsteps recede, then return, partnered. In the window reflection, I can see them without turning. Sierra and the ball-cap man sliding into the service hallway in a way that pretends not to be together. He stops at the ledge and reads a flyer like it wrote him a letter. She lingers 3 paces off, thumb on her phone. The man lifts his eyes to the camera dome, quick and careful. He checks his watch as if watches can bless timing. He's not nervous. He's synced. I keep my hands at my sides. The charger sits where I set it, silent as a tucked tool. When I breathe, I count to 5 and let the air leave slow. The ledge is the stage. The actors know their marks. My job is to let the scene happen without stepping on it. The window throws back a faded copy of the hall. The charger sits on the ledge where I left it, cable curved like a quiet question. Ortega drifts past, voice low. Inside the tape, you're good. Appreciate it, I say. Sierra arrives on the next breath. Move along, Tom. You're in the way. Presence isn't interference. Policy agrees. She angles herself to block my view of the service ledge. It's a good theater move. I take 1/2 step left and let the glass give me the alley her body tries to hide. Heart pulse. The tiniest click can change the day. I tap the charger's hidden switch with a fingernail. A tremor in my pocket buzzes as the paired app opens. Silent. No beeps. No lights. The screen shows the corridor like an aquarium. Ledge centered, wall clock high in frame. Minute hand pushing toward 1:43. Sir, security says from his loop, not unkind. Stay inside the tape. I am, I say, and keep my shoulders loose. Sierra plants a smile where passersby can see it. We're trying to keep this calm. Then stop trying to move me, I answer, not raising my voice. She exhales and turns, pretending she's just checking her phone. In the glass, I see the ball-cap man reappear at the far end of the service hall, reading the same flyer with the concentration of a saint. He isn't reading. Overhead. Confirm pre-op meds. The camera view holds steady. The clock kisses 1:43. The man shifts. Sierra steps into his periphery, thumb hovering, head bent as if to read a text that won't send. He looks up at the camera dome, then back to the ledge. His hand lifts a small bag and sets it down like it's nothing. Sierra's hand slides into view, just fingers and a sliver of wrist. Adjusts the bag, and an envelope edges out, pale against the sill. Her other hand palms something smaller, then both step away in practiced, separate motions. The phone in my hand stays at my side. All the looking happens in the glass. The app shows the recording bar sliding, calm as a tide. No numbers, no flashes. Just the scene and the clock holding 1:43 like a nail. Family tension. Sierra, you really can't stop yourself, can you? Tom, from standing still? No, Sierra, from turning love into paperwork. Tom, from turning fog into facts. The ball-cap man checks his watch, then the hall camera again, then walks. Sierra lingers, thumbs a message, and peels off toward the OR corridor, profile composed. I don't chase anyone. I let the bar crawl to the end. The card inside the charger takes what it saw and hands it to the cloud without fireworks. The upload spinner on my screen loops once, twice, then chirps a soft auto-save ding. The file name pops into place by itself. Window ledge, 1:43. I don't open it here. Chain matters more than curiosity. Sierra is already halfway down the corridor, aiming for the turn that leads to the OR. The envelope sits for a beat on the ledge like a mistake that wants to be cleaned, then vanishes, taken by a hand I don't need to see. I ease the charger a fingertip straighter, as if squaring a level after a cut, then kill the feed. The app shows the file living where it can't forget. I open my notebook and add a fat tab. Video, 1:43. Under it, small. Public corridor. No PHI. Wall clock visible. Auto upload confirmed. Ortega's voice grazes my ear. You all right? I'm good, I say, staying inside the tape. She nods once and moves on. The corridor exhales. A cart rattles. The elevator dings. I feel more tired than triumphant. It's not a win yet. It's a wire run clean and tucked, waiting for the inspector. The spinner blinks one last time and goes still. The title settles on the screen as Sierra's figure angles into the OR corridor and disappears. The resource room smells like toner and lemon wipes. A wall clock rides the far corner, its minute hand leaning toward 1:55. I stack my notebook on top of the packet like a job ticket, tabs showing video, 143/consent/scheduler/GoFundMe. Compliance intake? I ask. The clerk looks up over readers. You're in the right place. I'm submitting a safety packet before induction. One case, multiple exhibits. Sierra slips into my periphery with the coordinator like a weather front. We're ready for consent, Tom. With the right paper, I say, not turning. After this, the clerk taps the counter. Let's see your summary. I keep it lean. Consent mismatch. Paper Rev C, portal shows Rev B. Corridor video at 1:43 documenting a service ledge handoff in public space. No PHI. Scheduler/OR timing artifacts. Board shows 2 o'clock with 1:30 antibiotics cadence. GoFundMe created contemporaneously with edited church clip. Full clip already sent to Dr. Harris. The coordinator tries a smile made of porcelain. Use latest revision, Mr. Alvarez. I'm asking what changed and where it's documented, I say. The clerk nods, professional. We can log this. We'll need your contact and a brief description. She reaches for a form, then hesitates. We're busy today. Busy isn't policy, I say, soft as a fuse in a quiet room. Sierra leans in the doorway, stage whisper to the coordinator. He's making this harder. The clerk's eyes stay on me. Description? I give it in one line. Request rapid ethics consult before induction. C packet. E1 consent delta. E2 corridor video link. E3 scheduler notes. E4 fundraising metadata. E5 uncut church clip received by Dr. Harris. Doctor involved? The clerk asks. My physician, I say, and thumb my phone. Harris answers on the second ring. Tom, Harris says, I have your uncut clip. I'll be available. Need you as a witness if they convene. I'll pick up if called. I keep it short. Thank you. The clerk hears doctor and straightens half an inch. She types. You'll receive an email with a case assignment. Sierra edges closer. This delays his care. This prevents a bad cut, I say. You don't wire a house blind. Family tension. Sierra. Sign the latest now. Tom. Show me what changed. Sierra. Internal. Tom. Then it's not informed. The clerk slides the packet into a scanner slot. I summarize each tab while she feeds pages. One sentence per exhibit. The machine hums like a small transformer. Intake. Route. Confirm. No heroics. She glances at the wall clock. We'll escalate as pre-op approaches. Good, I say. Document that escalation time. I will. Heart pulse. Filing feels like throwing a switch. The hum comes back on. The coordinator puts a hand on the door jamb. Stay reachable. I'm right here, I say, and set my palm atop the notebook the way I used to rest it on a live panel I just grounded. A soft ping arrives in my pocket. I open the phone enough to let the clerk see the header. Compliance intake. Case number assigned. Below it, the email timestamp line glows. I don't read the digits out loud. I don't need to. Received, I say. Logged, the clerk replies. If the committee calls, you'll be directed to a consult location. Sierra watches my face like she's checking for a wobble. I give her none. I forward the case email to my own address, then to an archive I maintain at home. 2 chains, habit, not paranoia. The coordinator's smile thins. We're moving to prep. I'll walk, I say. Not with us, Sierra adds. Primary only. I'll be in the corridor inside the tape, I say, and tuck the notebook under my arm. The tabs peep like flags at a parade. Video, 1:43, consent, scheduler, GoFundMe. I step out. The hallway light flattens the scuff marks. The wall clock in the resource room shows almost 1:55 in my peripheral. The day's hum picks up into a higher gear. Sierra holds my eye for a beat as I pass, reading my face the way she reads the room. Then she pivots toward the OR corridor, pace clipped, performance polished. My phone buzzes again. The case email lands in my inboxes, all mail, a second anchor where my nerves can't smudge it. I let the screen go dark and keep moving. The notary window sits like a kiosk at a ferry dock. People hand something over and get waved on. I set my notebook on the counter, tabs out like flags. The resource room clock shows a few minutes past 2 p.m. in my peripheral. Compliance? The clerk says. Filing received, I answer. We're following up. Sierra steps into the doorway with the coordinator at her shoulder. They'll wheel him soon, she says, stage gentle. Sign the latest and let care proceed. With the right paper, I say, in the right order. The clerk glances at her screen. We're busy today. Busy isn't policy. She presses her lips together, types. Okay, Mr. Alvarez, I'm pulling your intake now. A security officer slows at the threshold, radio whispering. Keep halls clear, he says, then lower to me. If you're not on the active list, we may tighten access. I'm inside the tape and out of the way, I say. He nods once and moves on, boot heels scraping the wax. Sierra waits until he's gone. You hear that? You're about to get in your own way. I hear that process exists, I say, and keep my voice level. The clerk prints. Paper feeds with a warm plastic smell. Keys tick. She slides a single page across the counter, top edge aligned with the wood. The header sits there like a stop sign. Authorization expires 11:59 p.m. I plant a fingertip on the words. They'll read this first. Sierra laughs a breath. They'll wheel you soon. Not before they see the header. The coordinator takes a half step, porcelain smile at the ready. We'll keep the slot. Use latest. Tell me what changed between B and C, I say without looking away from the header. Or mark that you won't. The clerk clears her throat. I've noted your request and the case number on file. If the committee calls, you'll be directed. I nod. The notebook margin gets a small initial, T.A., and I scrawl, public route, above the tabs. It's not a signature. It's a promise to myself. Heart pulse. Process heat climbs. The paper steadies my hands. Family tension. Sierra. Every minute you stall is a minute he hurts. Tom. Every blind signature multiplies harm. Sierra. You're terrified. Tom. Of bad cuts, yes. The clerk keeps her tone neutral. Anything else you want in the note? Yes, I say. That I've asked for a rapid ethics consult before induction. It's in, she says. We'll route it. Sierra drizzles patience for the corridor. Tom, stop making this hospital a courtroom. This is a job site, I say. We're checking the load before we flip the breaker. The clerk turns the page so it faces me again. No codes, no extra stamps, just the line that matters. Authorization expires 11:59 p.m. I let it sit in my eyes long enough to fix the frame. Behind us, the desk clock ticks past 2:02. I don't photograph it. I don't need to. The coordinator touches the door jamb. Stay reachable. I'm right here, I say. Sierra's smile doesn't touch her eyes. You won't be for long. Then you can explain why, I answer, and tap the header once more. After they read this. Nurse station glare makes everything look a little too clean. The hall clock hovers around 2:10, a quiet pressure on the back of my neck. Security's radio mumbles, then clears its throat. A woman in a navy blazer, hospital counsel, steps into the triangle of light with a practiced half smile. Sierra floats beside her, eyes soft for the hallway. Mr. Alvarez, counsel says, measured, we've had notes about disruption. If you're not on the active list, lingering could approach trespass. I'm inside the tape, I say. If I'm disrupting, show me the policy. Sierra adds just enough heat for bystanders. Tom, please stop making scenes. Jake needs calm. I need record, I say. Ortega appears like a hand on the brake. Stand at the desk edge, she tells me low. You're within policy there. Thank you, I say, sliding one shoe so the rubber toe kisses the cabinetry line. The lanyard at her collar jingles, small mercy that sounds like a tool in the right drawer. Counsel's smile thins. We're moving him to transport soon. Then before movement, I say, please certify the visitor log for presence and badge. Ortega meets my eyes, then reaches under the counter and lifts a narrow binder. I can sign presence, she says evenly. That's within my role. Sierra's patience turns theatrical. This is ridiculous. Safe, I say. Family tension. Sierra, you're making it harder. Tom, I'm making it clearer. Sierra, you don't trust anyone. Tom, I trust paper. Ortega flips to the current page. Name? Thomas Alvarez. I keep my voice steady. She writes, Prince, Thomas Alvarez, then adds a short code beside it. Her pen lifts. This is your badge number. She initials, then signs on the witness line with deliberate strokes. This confirms you stood here, within policy, at this window. Heart pulse. A clean signature is oxygen. Counsel leans in. Nurse Ortega, is this necessary? It's accurate, Ortega says. Accurate helps care. Security slows, radio crackling. Prepare transport, the voice says. His eyes flick to me, then to the tape line at my toes. I'm on the edge as instructed, I tell him. He nods once, keeps moving. Ortega tears a copy free and slides it across to me. Keep this. The badge number sits on the page like a single nailhead, 3A19. I don't show it around, I lift my phone. 3 motions, practiced. Scan arrow, share arrow, email. The app trims the edges and flattens the page. I send it to myself and to compliance intake with the subject, visitor log. Badge 3, A19, certified. Server copy made. The shaky present becomes an object that won't wobble when nerves start telling stories. Sierra watches my thumb move. Collecting souvenirs? Collecting truth. Counsel lowers her voice. Mr. Alvarez, the team needs space. Policy gave me space, I say, tapping the desk edge with the back of my knuckle. I'm standing in it. Ortega nods at the binder. We're done here. Thank you, I say again, and my notebook opens on the counter like a reflex. I add a tab, logs, and put a small initial beside it. Under that I write, public route, badge number certified. Overhead, Bay 6, confirm IV, prep for transport. Gurney wheels hum, calm because they don't know what they carry. Counsel glances at Sierra. We're moving forward. With the right paper, I say, because I don't know a safer sentence. Sierra looks past me, already staging her next angle. I can almost hear the shape of her words. Support the plan. Keep things smooth. Ortega seals the binder with a soft snap and tucks it under the counter. She meets my eyes, just for a beat. It isn't friendship, it's professional gravity. Security's radio chirps again. Prepare transport, the same voice says, watching me as if the word might make me move. I lift the signed copy once, like checking a level on a fresh install, then slide it into the notebook sleeve. One line now holds. Whatever letter lands next, this one won't bend. Hospital counsel walks with security like weather moving in. Sierra ghosts beside them, phone ready at her hip. I'm at the nurse station desk edge, inside the tape, hands open. Mr. Alvarez, counsel says, voice for the corridor. We're implementing a temporary visitation restriction while preparation proceeds. On what policy, I ask, and where is it posted? Sierra to the hallway, soft for strangers. He's been disruptive. Security doesn't bite. He just sets a small placard stand by the door. The administrator hustles up with a plastic sleeve and a roll of blue tape. Heart pulse. Rage spikes. I breathe and choose the rule. The laminator hums. Tape squeals. An audience gathers, the way people do when paper is about to trump a person. Family tension. Sierra. Please, Tom. Let care proceed. Tom. Paper without policy is theater. Sierra. You're the show. Tom. Then post the rule you're invoking. Counsel keeps even. We're maintaining calm. You'll be routed to donor pre-op. I'm inside policy here, I say, toe touching the desk line Ortega gave me. If you change that, put it on paper. The administrator slides the sleeve into security's hand. Here. Transport tech jogs past, radio up. Transport in 10, clear a lane. I'm not in your lane, I say, without moving. Sierra pivots so the corridor can see her patients. He's making this harder. The hum stops. Security steps to the jam at eye level and smooths the sleeve flat. The title blocks the corridor like a new street sign. Temporary visitation restriction. Effective immediately. I don't photograph it. I don't give them that. I read it once, slow, and write the exact header into my notebook margin. A small square around the words to keep them from sliding. Counsel gestures with an open palm, pleasant as a mall directory. Mr. Alvarez, please proceed to donor pre-op. After I note the language, I tap my page. You've restricted visitation. You haven't barred observation from the desk edge. Sierra lifts her phone. The camera eye winks at the posted letter, then tilts my way, framing me and the sleeve in the same breath. You're escalating optics, I say. I'm informing family, she answers, voice light. Security recenters the sleeve and steps back. Sir, he says, not unkind, stay clear of the door. I'm clear, I say. Counsel's smile never drops. This is to maintain calm. Then answer calmly, I say. Which policy section governs the restriction? Mr. Alvarez, she says, measured, the posting is in effect. I look at the box I drew around the header and press the pen down once to dot the minute. The words are fixed. The day got narrower by 2 inches, the thickness of a taped plastic sleeve. Donor pre-op, security repeats, with a courteous half-turn of his hand. Sierra angles her phone higher and starts taking the shot. The pre-op corridor narrows to a printer alcove and a square of tile where people get named by stickers. Security gestures me toward the line of tape as if it were a curb. Hospital counsel stands to one side, voice even. We'll route you through donor pre-op now. I'm not banded, I say, and banding isn't consent. Sierra's phone hums in her palm. She thumbs a message without looking at me. A volunteer nearby reads the screen with their ears and whispers, so, he's finally donating. I heard the whisper, I say, eyes on counsel. Correct it. Sierra gives the corridor her kindest smile. We're moving forward. With consent, then banned, I say. A pre-op nurse steps into the alcove, checklist on a clipboard. Banned before transport, she recites. It keeps the chain clean. Clean is good, I say. Clean starts with informed. An anesthesia pager chirps down the hall. A transport tech calls. Transport in 5. Heart pulse. Being marched spikes anger. Choosing exact words is my grip. Family tension. Sierra, you're finally cooperating, right? Tom, I'm refusing banding pending consult. Sierra, you love delays. Tom, I love safety. Counsel edges closer, composed. Mr. Alvarez, the visitation restriction remains. Let the nurse proceed. I'm inside policy, I say. Write this, no ban before consult. Refusal noted. The nurse taps the printer's wake button. It coughs and hums. Sierra texts again, eyes already on the OR corridor, shaping the story before it breathes. Sir, the nurse says, voice practical, this is just the wristband. Banding isn't consent. Write that down. She glances at counsel. Counsel nods once, a small legal blessing to keep the line moving. The printer whirs, a thin white tail inching from its lip. The label feeds, catches light, and the single word claims the air between us. Donor. I don't touch it. I don't let it touch me. Note my refusal, I say steady. No band before consult. The nurse hovers, band pinched between 2 gloved fingers. Transport's here, the tech calls, wheels nosing into view. Sierra angles her phone toward the OR corridor, thumbs still moving. Counsel keeps her smile like a level. You can decline now and accept there. Write what I said, I answer. Donor band. Declined pending consult. I open my notebook against my palm and box the exact phrase. Donor band. Declined pending consult. Then add my small initial beside it. The act pins the moment so it can't slide. Chair's ready, the text says, brakes squeaking to a stop. The label hangs from the printer lip, bright and simple, as the transport chair noses against my shin. The consult room is a glass box borrowed from the OR corridor. One wall is the hallway, one is a screen, and the rest is chairs that decide where people rank. I take the seat nearest the monitor and set my notebook on the table. Tab up. Video. 143. Rapid ethics convened, the chair says, voice steady. We have a narrow window. OR staging in under 10 unless halted. Compliance nods. Packet received. Consent delta noted. Uncut church clip acknowledged. Visitor log certified. And a corridor video marked 143. Sierra sits opposite me with her hands fixed in her lap and her phone face down like a sleeping snake. The coordinator hovers by her shoulder. Dr. Harris leans forward 2 chairs down, quiet. Ortega stands at the back wall, badge still. We'll manage time, the chair says. Mr. Alvarez, present what you must in 1 point. I open the notebook, draw a box around, video, 143, and write 1 word. Played. My son needs safe care, I say. The video shows a bag envelope pass at the service ledge with the hall clock at 1:43 in frame. It matters because today's pressure has traded clarity for speed. Sierra exhales like I've inconvenienced air. This is grotesque. He's turning family into evidence. I'm turning fog into facts, I say. Load the file, the chair tells compliance. The lights dim 1 notch. The monitor replaces the room with the corridor I was standing in an hour ago. Glass reflection and all. The ledge is centered. The clock rides high. The minute hand kissing 1:43 like a nailhead. The ball cap man walks into frame, saintly with that flyer. A pale envelope slides from a small bag to the ledge. A second hand, Sierra's, adjusts the bag. Fingers deft, wrist careful. 2 bodies separate with choreography that only looks casual if you don't know you're watching. Stop, the chair says. The frame freezes. The clock holds 1:43. The envelope sits where a flyer should be. Sierra's voice thins. That could be anything. I set down a church program. In a service hallway, Ortega says, flat. The coordinator tries to breathe for everyone. We're losing the slot. The latest revision governs, and the donor, I'm the father, I say, and the latest has to be informed. Harris clears his throat. For the record, I received the uncut church clip earlier today. Mr. Alvarez's full statement includes, after they clear the risks. In my medical judgment, rushing an elective donor into anesthesia amid unresolved discrepancies is imprudent. The chair turns to him. Prudence documented. Compliance? The corridor video chain is intact, compliance says. Auto-upload confirmed. No patient identifiers. The 143 anchor is visible. Visitor log shows Mr. Alvarez within policy. At the desk edge, Sierra's mouth barely moves. This is all staged to embarrass me. Embarrassing isn't the test, the chair says. Safety is. I keep my tone level. I won't sign your performance. Sierra flinches like the air hit back. You promised at church. I promised the truth, I say. This is it, on a screen, with a clock. The coordinator tries the tempo again. If anesthesia clears, we can still pull forward. Not over a flagged consent mismatch and a staged pass, the chair says. What is in that envelope? Sierra stares at the frozen frame like it owes her a better angle. It's family business. In a hallway? Ortega asks. Answer the chair, compliance says. Sierra looks to the coordinator. No help. She looks to the door where security stands, impassive. No help there either. The room has angles and none of them are hers. Harris leans a fraction toward me. Jake can stabilize on dialysis another week. We can address risks without gutting family. The word family lands differently when the clock is still staring at you. Sierra's breath shudders in, then out. I wanted the numbers to line up, she says, to the table more than to me. The fundraiser, the optics. Her voice catches. It got away from me. The chair looks at the frozen envelope. Did you intend to influence testing or reporting today? Silence travels the table. Yes, she whispers. The room changes temperature the way a breaker flips. Compliance, the chair says. Note intent. Coordinator, remove this case from today's OR schedule. Mr. Alvarez is not to be banded or transported. Dr. Harris, you'll be looped for a safer plan. The coordinator's response is a professional wince. Understood. The chair turns toward me. Mr. Alvarez, you are within your rights to refuse at this stage. Thank you for a clear presentation. My hands settle on the notebook. Heart pulse. The room levels. I feel the hum come back on. Sierra's eyes find mine. They're not shiny now. They're small and human and honest in a way I haven't seen since the day Jake brought her home. Tom, she says, voice frayed. I'm sorry. I let the apology land. Not a victory lap, just gravity doing what gravity does. The chair nods to compliance. Freeze the frame for the record. The video holds the clock at 1:43 like a citation. The chair speaks to the room, the corridor, the day. Pre-op is halted. We reconvene for directives. Sierra is still looking at me when she says it again. Quieter, with no audience left to impress. I'm sorry. The glass door sighs behind us as the consult room empties. The corridor looks the same, but the air feels grounded, like a panel after you've tied the last neutral. Security parks the transport chair to one side and flips the brake. It sits there with its mouth open, waiting for a body it won't carry. Mr. Alvarez, compliance says, pacing his words, you'll receive a directive by email within minutes. Pre-op is halted. The restriction will ease to standard policy. A consult is set for 9 a.m. tomorrow to plan next steps. Copy, I say. I'll forward it to my archive. Sierra lingers at the edge of the light. Her voice is smaller than I've heard it. Tom, I meant the apology. I heard it, I say. We're not okay. We're in order. Nurse Ortega passes, eyes kind, badge steady. Desk edge remains fine, she says. Restriction is back to normal. Family rules. Thank you, I tell her. My phone throbs once. The header line fills the screen like a label made for breathing. Directive. Pre-op halt. Ethics. Findings implemented. I let compliance see it. Received. Please reply acknowledged, he says. We'll attach this to the case and send the consult calendar invite. I type acknowledged, then hit forward and route the email to my home archive. No numbers, no fireworks. Chain built. Heart pulse. Relief isn't joy. It's current steadied and safe. Dr. Harris calls from the doorway. I'll examine Jake this afternoon. Dialysis tonight. Then tomorrow we discuss options that don't involve rushing you. Thank you, I say. Sierra steps closer, hands open. I didn't want to hurt him. I wanted everything to look right. Make it right, not look it, I say. That starts with the truth, and with me not being handled. She nods, eyes on the floor. I understand. I scroll once more. The directive email lists bullet points like breakers. Or removal, banding canceled, restriction eased, consult scheduled. I don't read them out loud. I just let the shape of the words settle the day. I call Jake. His voice is thinner than mine, but clearer than this morning. Dad? I'm here, I say. No surgery today. Ethics pulled it. Dr. Harris will see you. Then we plan a high breath over the line. Okay. We'll do this clean, I say. Not fast, clean. Okay, he says again, and I hear a sound that could be a laugh or a sob. Thank you. I hang up with my hands still warm from the call. Security clicks the chair brake off, then on again, like reminding it who decides. Transport canceled, he tells passing staff. Ortega returns with a small paper cup of water. For now, she says, rest if you can. I can rest when the lights are off, I answer, but I take the water and it helps. Sierra tries one more sentence, softer. Will you talk to Mason later? We will, I say. He told the hard truth today. He gets to know that mattered. She swallows. It mattered. I nod toward the empty chair. Leave it that way. She follows my eyes and steps back. Compliance reappears with a printed copy for someone's folder. No stamps, just the header bold and final. I don't need paper in my hand. I open my calendar instead and tap Add Event. Title, Consult, 9 a.m. Alert, 8:45 a.m. The ping shows green against tomorrow's square. My notebook goes on the counter. I box 2 words, halt, enforced. Under it I write, chair left empty. The box steadies me more than any prayer I've ever tried. Anything else you need, Mr. Alvarez? Compliance asks. Clear directions, I say, and for the truth to stay on top. It will, he says. Today it did. I close the notebook and stand in the corridor a moment, feeling the building hum. The transport chair sits exactly where it should, unused, harmless, honest. For once, the prop didn't get to be the scene. My phone buzzes with the calendar invite. I accept. A polite chime marks the future. We're done for today, I tell Sierra. Go home. Tell the truth when people ask. I will, she says. I step away from the printer alcove, past the posted restriction that will be peeled down before evening, past the blue tape that kept me inside the rules. The corridor is just a hallway again. The directive sits in my inbox and in my archive. The schedule is cleared. The hum is back. I walk until the glass gives me the reflection of a man who didn't blink when it counted. Tonight I label the truth and send it where it belongs. Patience beats spectacle, and the house hums again. Clean, safe. I think of being seconds away, and of my grandson steadying my hand. I press the flap on a plain envelope. The seam gives a dry, final click. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below. Type 1 if you resonate with this story.